if you've got a wormery, then the key thing that you want to do is make that wormery work for you and get some worm castings. The worm castings has so much beneficial properties to help your garden grow. It can be used in potting compost. It can be added as you plant the plants into the soil. You can make a worm tea. So all sorts of things you can do, but basically it adds the microorganisms into the soil layer to help your plants thrive. So if you want to find out how to harvest your worm castings, then stay tuned. So I'm going to take off the lid. As you can see, this is the feeding tray. Within here we have got whatever is remaining in here. That will stay as it is, so I'm going to keep it. All I'm going to do at this point in time is swap the two around, because I want to expose light to the harvesting tray to try and remove, to make all of the worms migrate down into this layer here. So I'm going to take off the cardboard, quickly swap this around. As you can see, there's worms dangling from the bottom here. So quickly take this up. This is the new bedding layer. This will be the new feeding layer. Once I have changed everything over. So let's quickly put the feeding layer back there. The harvest layer here, and leave it like this for about 30 minutes to an hour to make sure the worms go down. I'm going to give it a bit of a fluff up to try and break everything out and to remove any obvious undecomposed feed. So I shall do that and come back in 30 minutes. Get rid of some of these weeds that seems to be growing in it. I don't want any additional stuff growing in my compost. Interesting when it is. Let's just jiggle it all up, agitate it a bit. Make it an uncomfortable environment for the worms at this point in time, so that they go down to the layer below. I'm also collecting any bigger pieces of old bedding or food to put down in the layer below. It's more obvious with the white shreddings that we use as the bedding. A credit card was shredded in this at one point, and I just seem to be permanently picking up the remnants. So this has been left for an hour, give or take, and has been cleared of any big bits of compost that might be uncomposted material. So there's bits or big bits of shreddings there. So I'll put them there. They will go into the new feeding tray. But essentially, I will get rid of this, empty this into a bucket, and this will be our castings harvested. So let's lift it up. It's the old worm on the bottom, so let's clear that up. That's empty. There is still some remnants of worms in there, and I noticed as I was emptying it there were some big worms went through, so let's get rid of those back into the wormery. I'll give it another sift through in a minute to make sure we've not got anything that shouldn't be in there. So yeah, let's get through those. So that now is going to be our new bedding layer. So I have some shreddings. Spread that out. Actually, at this point in time I'm creating two bedding layers, but one is going to be older than the other. So this one is going to be the older one, so let's put a good layer in there, and I'll add to this one as I get more shreddings. So that will be the bottom layer and will be the pseudo older one eventually. That definitely, the bottom layer will always be the older one. This is the newer layer of bedding, so that's that. This was the feeding tray, is going to be the new harvesting tray. So that's going to be on top of the shredding. So let me just put anything that is obviously not quite decomposed enough into the new feeding tray. So the very bottom one is the new feeding tray. So some of this can continue to go in. So let me add that all into the new feeding tray. All of this will add to the goodness and the microbiology of that new feeding tray. So that's a good thing. So that then goes on top of the bedding tray. So if I just remove that over there, so this is the draining tray. So we have our three layers. So that's the oldest, or will be the oldest, bedding tray as months go on. So will eventually become the feeding tray. This is the newer bedding tray. This is going to be the harvest tray going forward. And then the feeding tray will go on top. So this is all shreddings that have been acclimatising for a month at least now. So let me just fluff that up, give it a bit of aeration. There we go. Let's add in bits of saved compost that I dug out the last time from the previous harvesting tray. So any big lumps, let me just break them down a bit more. And then we would cover that up with cardboard. And put the lid back on. So now the wormery has been put back together, and we have got, for me in my system, because I have 4 trays, I've got 2 layers of bedding at different stages of acclimatising to the wormery. I have got the harvesting layer, which will be harvested in a month or 2 months' time, which was the old feeding layer. And I've got a new feeding layer. So after harvesting, all of the trays circle round going downwards, and so what was the feeding tray becomes the harvesting tray, so the next harvesting tray. The bedding tray will become the new feeding tray, and obviously the tray that you've just harvested will become the new bedding tray. So they cycle round whenever you do the harvest. So hopefully that's made it clear. This has been the easiest way that I found to harvest it. It just has a pause in between doing it. So open it up, get the harvest tray up to the top, so get some light into it, which will mean that the worms move themselves down further into the wormery, and then you can easily just empty out the worm castings into a bucket and fill that empty tray up with the new set of paper shreddings, and you'll be good to go going forward. Hopefully that's been useful. It's taken me a while to get into this routine, but hopefully it's been useful to you so that you can get up and running as soon as possible. If you found other ways of making your wormery as productive as possible that's different to what I'm doing, please drop a note in the comments, because I'm really keen to know if there's anything that I can be doing different or more effectively, so that I can get as much of these worm castings out as possible, so I can use them throughout the whole of the garden and make everything thrive.